Good morning, everyone, on this Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Time, super bright and early, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. So I cannot tell you how flippin' excited we are to have Elise Joan on our call today. And just so excited about this program. So before we introduce her, I wanted to go ahead and just share a 1-minute clip of the preview so we can get all our excitement up. Hold on a second. Let's see, where is this thing? Wait a second. I want to put the screen big. Hold on. I wish all of this happened seamlessly, but this is the way life is, right? With little seams. All right, guys, check this out.
I am powerful. I am motivated. I am committed. I am ready. I want to see you burn and sweat. We're going to torch some calories and torch some fat. Drop it low and get that heart rate up. Let's pick up the tempo. Let's go center, lunge. Yes. Center, lift. We reach and strengthen. Standing leg to feel the burn and feel the bliss. You've got it. Let's take it away from the bar and blend into our cardio intervals. What happens if we add a jump? Yes, love that. Let's get that knee up. Let's go for those weights. Curtsy, firework kick. Work on that balance, work on that strength. And I want to see low and high. We're right in that fat burning zone. One more like that each way. Good work, guys. Feeling that burn. Reach forward. Let's come right to tempo. Let's pull back up, back down. Are you guys feeling this? Use those abs, use those legs. Get that good energy. One more. Good job, guys. Way to rock it. Defy your limits. Define your body.
With that, yes! Elise, if you would kindly unmute yourself.
Hi, guys. Hi, Barbie. So great to see you. Thanks for having me today.
So excited. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're heading toward the last phase of our filming. So I've just been having a blast creating Barre Blend, and I'm so excited to be able to share it with you guys so soon.
Oh my gosh, we're so grateful. Remember, guys, just keep muting yourselves. We're so grateful. I know that you are in the middle of filming. You're doing calls now. So I'm going to pass the floor on to you and ask you actually some questions, but I wanted to share with everyone because this is going to sound terrible, but I have to share it because I want people to open their minds up to this program. So when Barre Blend was actually, I'm really embarrassed to say this, when Barre Blend was announced at Summit, I actually went to the bathroom and I missed the little preview, okay? And how embarrassing. And I was so close-minded, you guys, that I was like, oh, okay, I missed it. And I didn't even know that you were the girl from the yoga retreat. And then I went to leadership in October last month, and I had signed up for a class with Elise. And I was like, oh, I think it's the yoga girl, okay? Totally, I was like, okay, whatever. I went and I'm like, I love yoga, just got certified. I just got goosebumps. I walked into that tent and it was like this ray of light and sunshine just hit me. And oh my God, see, I'm emotional. And you were so, I know. And this is why I am so excited for the world to experience you. And I just texted you right before that you are unchained. This is Elise Unchained. This is not, something happened. I was discussing with my husband before the program. I'm like, I don't know what the hell happened, but Elise from the yoga retreat is a different Elise from right now. So with that said, who is Elise Joan? Talk to us, girl.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I got emotional too. Thank you so much for sharing that. I resonated with you right away when I got to see you right after class, and we had like a very special connection moment that has stayed with me and really fueled a lot of my messaging in teaching Barre Blend. So I want to share that with you. But yeah, thanks for asking. You know, it's been like a really long journey to get here. And before I kind of start sharing my journey, you know, to your point, the first time, you know, in the yoga retreat, it was a very specific directive. You know, I was one of 4 people, and the energy was keep it simple, keep it basic, keep it to cueing, you know, keep it to the fundamentals, because we really wanted to make yoga accessible to everyone. And the whole premise was, you know, no hippy dippy stuff. Well, I am just like made of hippy dippy stuff. So I tried to rein it in, but I did fight for the shavasanas and the meditation and some of the elements that, if you have done my week, the expansion week, or some of my yoga studio videos in Beachbody On Demand Yoga Studio, I have a tiny bit more freedom there. But this is really the culmination of everything I've ever wanted to share. And I feel so thankful to Carl. He basically, we had a meeting, and he, I think, saw something in me, and it had the, I mean, it takes a lot for a CEO to put his faith in you to just kind of like reign free and express yourself. So, I mean, Carl is such a fearless leader, so I'm really thankful for that. But yeah, it was a very interesting journey getting here. I'm not sure how far back to go, but I'll give you a little bit about me. I was born in New York City. My parents were getting their PhDs at Columbia. They're incredible people, highly intellectual, very cerebral people. I was born this very emotional, very creative, very empathetic being that kind of came into their lives, and they were really young, and they're like, oh, wow. And I just remember from a very young age in New York City, you know, we didn't have a lot of money because my parents were PhD students. But my dad would take me around, and we would, you know, walk through the different parks and make up stories. And my dad would write these children's stories based on some of our experiences in New York. So I always was curated by my parents, even though I was so different from them, to just be free and move into my creativity and my, you know, emotional empathy. So that was fun. I, you know, went through high school. I'm a consummate type A overachiever. So I took all the AP classes, and my parents have PhDs and law degrees. So it was kind of assumed that I would not only go to college, but then either law school, med school, or a PhD. That was like the route, you know. So I started off pre-med in college. I've always been really interested in anatomy, and I had been dancing my whole life. So at about age 3 or 4, my mom put me in ballet classes, mostly because I would constantly like run into things, you know, fall downstairs. I was always moving so fast and had bruises all over. So my mom thought I could use some grace. So I took ballet, and I had a very intuitive relationship right away with movement. Even though I'm very verbal, movement was kind of how I would express myself through very challenging times. I was, you know, really scrawny and had glasses and a binating retainer in junior high. So I was, you know, horribly bullied. And when I would go to dance is when I could fully express myself and feel alive. So I always had a very deep connection and joy and effervescence that came with movement that I didn't always feel in other areas of my life in those challenging kind of teenage years. But I went to William and Mary, started off pre-med, bio major, and they didn't have a dance program, so I found musical theater. So my second week there, I saw a sign. They were holding auditions for Guys and Dolls, and they were looking for hot box dancers. And I'm like, oh, I could probably do that, you know. So I auditioned, and then immediately got the theater bug, and decided that after I graduated college, which I did, that I would move to New York and be an actor, dancer, singer. And my mom almost had a heart attack at 40, you know, and it just was the beginning. But I had a passion, and I felt like I had something to offer, and moved to New York and had a series of great successes, which was fun. I got to act and dance and sing in Broadway tours with Anne Margaret and Tony Curtis and some just really amazing people. I got to study with Tony-winning choreographers, and I just was thirsty for more movement, different ways to move, different ways to understand the body. And at this point, I had a pretty good background in anatomy because of my college degree. So it's kind of an interesting thing that to have the intuitive relationship and then also be interested in that relationship.
I think I did some Google searching on you, by the way. And so to hear you say that about movement, that's really what I think so many of us that got to work out with you experienced. It was the moment that you opened your mouth and you started with your, it gives me chills. The moment that you opened your mouth and you started speaking and moving, it was unlike anything that I've ever felt. And I've gone to yoga classes, I've done this, but it's exactly, I think that you were able to deliver that passion, that emotion through movement and through your words. So I read somewhere that you had a vocal injury, and so that's why your career sort of shifted. Because at the beginning of the call, you also said that it's been a long journey. And so I was actually going to begin this call by saying, like, tell us about your overnight success, because it always appears that way, right?
Doesn't it? Yes.
So would you tell us about the vocal, if it was an injury? I don't know. And then also how you dealt with the difficulty. Was it a loss for you?
Yeah.
And did you have to redefine yourself?
Yes, thank you for asking that. I mean, obviously you're so intuitive even to ask these questions, which are not things I typically get to talk about on the coach calls that are planned, but Barbie is very special being. So thank you for asking. So you guys will get probably the first insight to some of this, which
I want to get in her soul. Like, this is magic, you guys.
I love it. So essentially I was on a Broadway tour having the time of my life. I was understudying a couple of the leads and, had a great role myself. And I noticed that my voice just became less and less reliable, and I would do the T's and I would go to an ENT and get things checked out. But I just noticed it was very harder and harder and harder to access my voice. I finally went to a voice specialist and found out I had something called prenodular polyps on my vocal cords, which then became vocal nodes. So as you can probably hear in my voice right now, because it's pretty early morning here, and though when I'm filming, I'm usually up at 5 a.m. Today I slept in till like 6, but I have to do morning vocal exercises even now, and my voice is very low. It's not the same voice I had at that point. And what happened is when your cords need to phonate, they need to come together to create sound. And my polyps were kind of midway up the cord, which meant that it eliminated about an octave and a half of my singing range. At the time, there were two options. Vocal surgery is very, very risky. This is back in the day. It's probably 2000, maybe 2003 or 2004. Julie Andrews had just gotten the surgery done, and it totally ruined her speaking voice as well as her singing voice. It's incredibly high risk. The cords are so precarious, and I've always been a little bit more one for holistic healing. So I decided that I would take the other option, which was 2 months, complete vocal rest, no phonating of the cords, followed by 2 years of speech therapy. So I did the vocal rest, which for me, if you know me, I really enjoy talking quite a bit. I've always got something to say. So it was my first big lesson in having that instrument of expression removed, and taught me a lot about listening to others, listening to myself. And to answer your question, yes, it was a tremendous loss, because essentially I had to take a leave of absence. So I was on workers' comp. That was the last show I ever did. I wasn't prepared to leave that career. I was feeling just as though I was kind of breaking through. So in addition to the physical challenge of not being able to speak, was the emotional challenge of that, and the end of a career that I worked really hard for. At a young age, I was I think 27 at the time. And I struggled with dealing with it. And I knew I couldn't go to my old dance classes or anything, because I knew too many people and it would be too hard not to speak. I mean, literally, if I went to Starbucks, I had a whiteboard where I would write my order, explain I was on vocal rest. I found a yoga studio. It was $100 for 3 months, unlimited yoga. So I walked in and wrote my thing down, and they gave me a membership, and I got to the mat and I just lost it. I just, everything, all of my disappointment, all of my emotions kind of poured out on the mat. And I realized that I'd found another realm of movement that was healing me. As a kid, movement healed me in a different way, kind of dealing with bullies and unpopularity. As an adult, movement made me come alive on stage, in performance, in workshops. And then now movement again was my healing factor. So I came to the mat 2 or 3 times a day and would just flow and breathe and flow and breathe and cry and release. And it was amazing. I did feel healed. And the owner of the studio noticed, I was having these emotional experiences. classes and said, you know, a lot of people, it was very popular at the time to get certified in yoga. And he said, you know, I think you have something different to offer. A lot of people come, they're bendy. It's about the physical practice, but he saw the emotional side in me, and so offered to certify me in exchange for teaching after my certification the most unpopular class time, which was 5:15 in the morning in New York City. So, you know, you pay your dues and all that. And since then, that kind of started my journey into fitness. And I think about it in a different way. A lot of what I'll talk about in Barre Blend or in life is kind of, you know, our perceptions really mitigate how we experience this world. And you can see challenges as the end of something. You can see it as poor me, why me, you know, you can have that mentality. And my feeling is a lot of people do, and understandably so. Or you can shift that perspective to seeing an opportunity somewhere. And I chose that realm, and I chose to think of it as like losing one voice to find another truer voice. And when I was able to, you know, connect with people as me instead of as a character, because there was a lot of gratification going out on stage, 2,000 people a night, performing in New York and LA, and it was very outward. But the reciprocal connection started happening when I started teaching, and I continued to study all different kinds of forms of fitness and just continued my love of movement. And I'm certified basically in almost everything, like everything from mat Pilates, group fitness, Schwinn cycling, obviously yoga, barre, because I'm just curious about the body and different ways to move. And I enjoy learning and seeing how my body reacts, how other people respond to things. And, you know, from there, I kind of found, you know, different DVDs, and I got opportunities, you know, they would come to me, and I eventually Beachbody found me, and that's how the yoga retreat began. And then, you know, we filmed the yoga retreat. I want to say that was 2016. So 3 years later, you know, I thought, oh, well, that's probably done. You know, yoga wasn't, I guess, you know, as popular. And then, I got a call from a producer at Beachbody who said, you know, I've asked around, you know, I have this program that I think you might be right for. And I was like, oh, you got to call Elise. I think she'd be really good for this. And, you know, so anyway, I got this call that basically changed my life in that moment. And I'm fortunate, you know, Carl and my producer, Lisa Roth, are just let me be unchained a little bit. And just to share one more thing that I think is relevant, you know, and they filmed my Meet the Trainer video about a month and a half ago, and I'm not sure when that comes out, but you guys will get a little bit of a preview, and I think it's relevant to this story. And that is that I'm married to, and my husband Nolan is amazing. We actually had a dancer who was supposed to be on stage with us at Leadership, and he couldn't make it. So I go to my husband, who's like the most masculine dude you'll ever meet. He like lifts heavy weights, but he would let me practice on him, right? I'm like, babe. And he's also, by the way, the most introverted person you will ever meet. And I'm like, guess what? I need you to come on stage and represent the men with me for like hundreds and hundreds of people you've never met. And he was like, okay. But he was up there and beaming and like, he did great. You see, yeah, Barbie. Yeah. He was so fun. But, so anyway, that's Nolan. If you get a chance to meet him via social media at some point, but, so we've been married for 2 years, and we were together for a couple of years before that. And to your point, I think a lot of people don't know that, first of all, I'm in my 40s, and I feel better than ever. I feel physically better, emotionally better than in my 20s or 30s. So I feel like life keeps getting better and better. But I did hit a bit of a challenge shortly before I got this call. And that was that my husband and I, for many years, because we started even before we got married, we had an instant connection, and we knew. And, you know, we started trying to have a baby. And I did all the acupuncture, I did all the teas, I did all the taking of my temperature every month, and 49, rock on, love it. It was, and I'm like, and everyone was like, oh, it's fine, you should be good. You know, I have a great candidate, super healthy. So for a few years of trying holistic measures and not having any success, and my husband's young, you know, he's 36, just turned 36. So, you know, it was challenging. And then we decided to do IVF, which for us was a massive expense. You know, we saved up for, I was a great candidate. We did the IVF, lots of eggs, everything looked good. And, right before implantation, I got the news that all of our embryos did not survive. And I'm going to get emotional a little bit now, but that was an incredibly challenging point for me in multiple ways, not just and I was also told at that point, they're like, look, you have a lot of eggs. It's not likely that you'll be able to have a baby. And, it's just like, no one's ever told me you can't do something before, right? Especially if I wanted to do a handstand, I trained my body. And in this particular scenario, my body was not really cooperating. And so I did have a few rough weeks where, thank God for my husband, but I just would cry, and it felt like a very, very big loss for me. And, but then I remembered, all of the things that I share and the things that I try to teach, which is that we have to repurpose everything to gratitude, and we have to shift our perspective. So I did give myself a couple weeks to just take off classes and kind of experience the emotions, move through it and things like that. And then I decided to shift my perspective, and I would do gratitude lists, which I always do in the morning. But I started doing them like 3 times a day, like thankful that I didn't have, a late term miscarriage or a child that would only live for 2 years. I mean, there's so much to be thankful for. So not only thankful for my family and friends and all those things, but thankful actually for this challenge, because I think that, it's easy to find gratitude for, your healthy body and all of these things. It's a little harder to try to find gratitude for the challenges we go through. And I think a lot of times people think I'm a very positive person, but it's not, because everything in my life has always been exactly as planned. I've gone through a lot. I went through a very challenging divorce. I got married young to someone with some, mental issues that didn't come out until we were married, because I was Catholic and we didn't live together, do anything until we were married, and then you live with someone and you're like, oh, all of this is here that was, unhealthy. But so gone through a lot of things, and I knew I had to pull myself out of that. So what I don't want to message is that it wasn't the call that then changed my attitude. It was the fact that I shifted my perspective to gratitude. I decided, you know what, this may not be in the cards for me, but what is it about being a mom? Like, I tried to really look inward, and what it is I want to nurture. There's a part of me that is nurturing. There's a part of me that has a need to share and to help people. So I just decided, and this is before the Beachbody Come, like, well, I'm going to have to create my own opportunities to share. And I don't know what that will look like, but let's start seeing how I can. And I brought myself out of it, and I got back into the studio and just started like moving and thinking, well, maybe I'll like create my own program. I have a website. And then I got the call. And, so, I mean, lots of messages there, I guess, but one of which is, if you decide to see opportunity, the opportunities and the right things will find you. And it doesn't always look the way maybe you plan. I've had a lot of things in my life not go according to plan, from divorce, career-ending injury, fertility issues. But you know what? Something even more right for me came out of them. Something even more right that I wouldn't have thought for myself has found me. So I think if we really look around for what's going right, the opportunities will find us. And so in Barre Blend, I was able to, my favorite part of the program, the movement is all 20 years of my experience, like truly, it is such I stand by this program. It is so, intelligently crafted in the sense that there's something for everyone. It's safe for everyone. It's a results-oriented program. But for me, my favorite part is they really set me free to share. I have these affirmation cards and the emotional part component of what I hope to bring, which is why I worked so hard in 4 months of preparation, thinking and creating, so that when the cameras roll, I could stop thinking and try to just be, and trust that what I shared would be something that would resonate with our coaching community.
Yeah, you said so much. So first of all, everyone's saying thank you so much for sharing your heart. And I don't know what the quote is, but I looked at you and I knew from the way that you were sharing from your deep in. See, I feel like I'm just gonna ugly cry any second. From the depth of your soul, she's muted. I knew that you had been through stuff, because you don't get to have an impact in the world in the way that you're having an impact, and that you're just beginning, sister. without having suffered loss and repurposing that loss. And so I want to just take a second to acknowledge that. And this is why I'm so excited. And I even sent you a message, because I think our coaches a lot of time, and there are customers on here too, that they hit an obstacle and then they just give up, you know, and they don't realize that the most successful people, you know, including Tony Robbins, I mean, really, we have been through tragedies in some cases. And so this is why I think that this program is so perfect for our community. So that was the first comment. I have no doubt in my heart, in my soul, that this is a life transforming program. And one of the things that you had said somewhere in an interview is that you really wanted to innovate. And so in hearing about your story, just, it's so clear how when you talked about movement and through voice, and then in yoga, you found a way to the emotional side of yoga, you said. And so hearing your history, and this is, I didn't even know why I said this to you at the time when I met you. This is why I said, I'm so glad you're in your 40s, because this moment is the culminate, this program is the culmination of your history. I got goosebumps again. It's like your whole life is coming into this beautiful expression of who you are. So with that question, with that said, what is Barre Blend? And Carl at Leadership talked about a market disruptor. And I'll tell you guys, I've been YouTubing different Barre Blend videos, trying to see what the moves are and trying different things. They're so boring, oh my gosh, the videos that I've seen. So what exactly is Barre Blend? And why is it a blend? I think you've sort of told us that, but what is Barre Blend? And tell us about this actual program, who it's for, what are we in for?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so much. But I'll give you the basics first, which is, I agree with you. I'm certified in classic barre, like OG barre. My teachers were direct proteges of Lottie Burke, who created the Lottie Burke method, which is the basis for all of barre. And it is very regimented, very disciplined, very intense, not very joyful. That it's effective, but not joyful. And for me, that wasn't going to cut it for Barre Blend. So, but yes, so the basic program it's a 60-day program. The workouts are 5 days a week. You know, we recommend Monday through Friday, but you can start anytime. And then 2 days on the weekend, where I've created roll and replenish videos, and also yoga blend videos, which are designed to kind of help, you know, you'll be a little sore. It's a different way to work your body. But the other side of that, for those of you that are like, I know you're out there, super elite athletes, love to impale yourself on fitness, cannot take a rest day. This program, Barre Blend, is all mind-body, meaning that we don't use heavy weights or like oppressive equipment. So it's actually safe to do every day. So I created the structure of the week so that on a Saturday or a Sunday, if you really wanted to add a 6th day, you could do our classic full body blend or any of the regular weekday workouts you wanted. So you really can tune it. But if you're talking straight up calendar, 60 days, 5 days a week, rest and replenish on the weekends. And every class, we have a slogan. It is sweat, burn, smile. And that is a guarantee for every single class. So every class is full body work. So you will work your upper body, your core, your legs, your butt, full body. And every class has cardio sculpting intervals. So interval training, you know, is the idea of getting your heart rate up and down several times throughout a class. It's highly effective. And we have high intensity interval options, which is different than high impact. So the first thing I want to message, which I think there's a lot of misconceptions about, which is that low impact does not mean low intensity or low energy. Low impact just means that at no time do both of your feet leave the ground at the same time. You have to have at least one point of contact with the ground. That could be 2 hands. So even mountain climbers, things like that could be considered low impact. But it is very high intensity in Barre Blend because the 20 years of my fitness experience, even if you're not including the other 15 years of my dance experience, I have worked on creating cardio intervals that don't require any high impact moves that sculpt the body. So not only will you get your heart rate up in the moment of the cardio interval, so like if you're on a treadmill, you're getting your heart rate up, but as soon as you exit the treadmill, the benefits are negligible. For my cardio intervals, you're strengthening, so you're increasing your resting metabolic rate. We're working on your body mass index, all of these things that maybe won't show up as a number on the scale, but will show up in your body shredding from a physical perspective. So they're very thoughtfully created. I spent 4 months, and my tech on this, if you know from MM100, is Dane. He's in the back of the cast of MM100. He's a Pilates master. So making sure that we brought that element in too. But so anyway, every class, full body sculpting and cardio intervals. And one of the things that's really special is I created 3 distinct levels for every class. So to answer the most important question, this program is for everyone. It is not an exclusive program. You know, a lot of misconceptions I feel like we have to overcome. This is just for dancers. This is just for girls. This is a stretch. This is a relax. This is not going to work your body. None of those things could be further from the truth. So I like to think of it as like a results-oriented program that is based in awakening your inner joy, your inner truth, your inner purpose. So from the physical perspective, every class has that. Mondays are our full body blend. It's just kind of a classic barre blend class. Then we move to still full body, but it's booty blend. And then we have cardio blend, we have core blend, and long lean legs blend. So in addition to the full body work and the cardiovascular intervals, you'll get a little extra emphasis on those body parts on those days. So we have 3 levels. We have a modifier, and it's not like a typical modifier where it's someone who just, can't do moves or just hang out over here and don't really squat or don't really jump. They're precisely designed for the modifier. This would be anyone new to fitness, women in their 50s and 60s who have weight to lose and maybe have never been to the bar. It's still very powerful. And I actually chose one of our most aspirational dancers. She's 24, not even 25, flawless body, flawless form to modify and I really wanted to fight for that because first of all, our cast has age diversity. It has 2 people from our test group. It has 1 real results story, regular woman, and then a couple of dancers just to show the aspirational form.
I saw you post about one of the girls, I think. If you don't, and by the way, if you don't follow Elise yet, go follow her because you're really sharing different parts of the journey and it's fascinating. And your body keeps getting better and better, by the way, I guess, as you're...
Oh, it's this program. All I've done is this program because I wanted to be able to testify to its results, and I didn't change much about the way I was eating or anything. I've always been pretty healthy. I'm like an 80-20, 90-10 person, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, super healthy. I do my Shakeology every day, so I know that I'm getting the nourishment I need. So if I want to have a piece of pizza for dinner or whatever, piece of cake on my birthday, I do. Yeah, it is incredibly effective. And I wanted our cast to show I wanted you out there and your clients and your team to see yourself reflected up there and to know that the modifications are incredibly powerful and you will get results if you do nothing more than the most modified options.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. I have a question. I think you talked about obstacles and some of the misconceptions that people have. One of the things that I've seen are that the hardcore athletes, they're not paying attention. This is why I feel like a crazy lady trying to wake people up.
Yeah, they're not paying attention.
Okay, so why would this program be for someone that, for example, loves insanity?
Yes.
I'm not saying don't do insanity.
Yeah.
But you can do different things. So why would someone that is the insanity type or or something type do this program? How would it benefit them?
Well, I think there's several ways it would benefit them. Let's talk about the physical ways first. And that is, first of all, it's just as challenging physically as any of those programs. It's just a different way to challenge. But just to give you an example, Amwala, who I think we can all agree is like a rippling abdominal god. And the man is probably the strongest human I've ever met. He took my class at leadership, and he came up to me after. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, like wore my sweatshirt. I thought, oh, bar, it's for ladies. And he's like, my butt and legs were on fire in the first 5 minutes. And then he came to set a week later and was like, Elise, I don't know if I should thank you or curse you, but my butt still hurts from these moves. So it is incredibly physically challenging. So even if you're Amwala, like the absolute definition of elite athlete who loves super hardcore, right, the crucible and all these moves, it's still challenging for you, and it will give you different results, particularly for the women athletes. Like, you know, what I love is, you know, we have so much on Beachbody. We have Sagi, obviously, who can build a lot of strong muscles and huge muscles, and, you know, men really gravitate toward that. But I want to try to get men to bar as well. But for women especially, it really kind of cultivates what I perceive to be the ideal female physique, which is athletic, strong, powerful, that version of your body, and more importantly, physically, ankle stability, knee stability, hip stability. So we work the ligaments and tendons that support our ankles, knees, and hips. So we're living to be 106. I want you to have your original hips. I want you to avoid knee surgeries and these things that happen to women, men too, but particularly women, you know, later in life. And this program will give you extra strength. So when you go to do the other programs, when you go to do other Beachbody programs, you're approaching it from a super healthy perspective as far as your joints, your spine, and your body mass goes. And you'll see different results, because I was an athlete before. I mean, I was doing yoga. I was very fit. I was doing heavy weights classes because, as I've shared, I love doing different movements. I create classes for Equinox. So I'll go to all of Equinox's classes, and I mean hardcore insanity type classes. And I've never gotten better results as an athlete than this program that I've created. So physically, that's how. And then mentally and emotionally, I mean, this is a program about coming into your power. So if your goal is to like run an Ironman triathlon, your goal is physical, this program, what I say, what I share, how we communicate Barre Blend will help you with that. But also in your coaching, like I really designed it. I'm speaking to you guys when I'm filming. It's like hard to share, but I kind of go into a place where I do a little meditation before I go out, and I try to channel what it is I want to share. And then I literally do an exercise where I stop thinking. So I get out of my head. I trust my 20 years of experience in the last 4 months, and I step out there. And as soon as they go, I let it all out. And sometimes I finish, I'm like, I wonder if what I said made sense. And the whole like cameramen are like crying and like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to rise into my power. But I want you guys to help with your coaching businesses. It will help you believe in your capacity to influence and to make a difference. Because I think especially as women, a lot of our demographic is women, you know, we're taught to like play small and don't take up space and be skinny and, you know, be sure that you're like very diminutive and unoffensive and be a mom and be a CEO and run your own business and look amazing and have a great body and cook, you know, all these things. And I want to debunk all of that. I want to be like, take up your space, rise into who you are. Doesn't matter if society thinks you should be who you are, just get out there and do it. And, you know, as coaches, you're offering a gift to people. And I think once we realize that it can make us a little more powerful. So one of my challenges in the dialogue about the program is getting those people, those elite, like kind of insanity people, to at least try. So I wanted to give you guys the best tool possible. So I curated the sample workout to be your tool to say, hey, even if you don't have 25 minutes, give me 10 minutes, do the first 10 minutes, let me know what you think, and to get those people on board as well.
Yeah, and so for those of you who are coaches, we also invited clients, and we'll share the recording with potential customers. But that's why I said, you know, I ignored, I went to the bathroom. I didn't even see the preview. And then she hit me, you know, with her being, and then the actual workout. I really was also sore for days, and I was working out. I snuck into the back of the room the second day, even though I wasn't supposed to, right? And I saw Amala working out too, and he was working, so I witnessed that. So yeah, so really ask people to keep an open mind and just try it out, because just what you're saying, when they get to experience you, it's going to be a different story.
It's incredibly effective. Like that's the one thing I want to share, because I know some people aren't into the hippy dippy, you know, emotional stuff. I think it will. I mean, what I try to do is I do me, but it's not offensive or oppressive for people who don't want that messaging. I think they'll find that they like it, even though they don't think they want it. But ultimately, we're results oriented. I need to give you guys a tool that's going to shred people's bodies, and this does at any level.
I interrupted you before when you were about to talk about the affirmations and the affirmation cards. Can you talk about that? And also, you know, even if it is hippy dippy, I don't agree. I don't think that it's hippy dippy, but I'm saying it's so clear to me from watching your Instagram and other people's Instagrams of their experience with you that they feel this deep connection. And to me, watching you be you, so deeply be you, and me having my experience, it's so clear to me that your vibe attracts your tribe, and that the people that are your people, they're just, I mean, people are having the same experience with you. They're like, you're so authentic, you're so you, oh my God, I can't wait. And so this program is going to attract the people that it's supposed to attract. But can you talk about the affirmation cards and what with all that? Yes.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point, Barbie, because I do hope it attracts the people, because there's people who are already on board, they love barre, and I'm hoping we can get to the people who don't think they need it, because I think sometimes those are the people that actually will benefit most from not only this kind of physical work that will help them, but the mental and emotional work. So we have affirmation cards. We call it, it's our I Am motivational deck. And oh, shoot, I might even have mine here. No, I think I left them on set. It is a deck of cards. There's 65 cards for a 60-day program, and they begin with I am. So if you've never done affirmations before, it's kind of that alignment that how we think about we have to practice how we see ourselves, repurpose how we speak about ourselves, you know, and if we have these I am affirmations, they help us speak it, think it, and then we start to embody it. So everything from I am motivated, I am empowered, to I am forgiving, I am patient. And these are the things that, you know, there's different ways to use affirmation cards. We use them on set by every day before we film a class. We pick a card. Sometimes I intentionally choose a card, like I am centered for core day, so I can kind of message simultaneously. But honestly, most of the time, we like put the deck out, we like put our good energy in it. Someone from the cast will draw, someone who's had a hard day will draw, the cameraman will draw. And I mean seconds before they hit the cameras, and then I think someone needs to hear this. How can we message this today? And the feedback on that has been very powerful. Then of course you have the cards, so you can, if you're having a hard time during the middle of your day, your kids are driving you nuts, or you know, you're having challenges with your business, you can like pause, reflect on what you might need to hear, draw a card from the deck. And I very, very intentionally chose these 60 words. And there's a sentence afterwards that embodies my interpretation of this particular affirmation. And sometimes when you draw it, if you really kind of meditate on what you need, it will show you something that can help you in that moment or in that day. And then I put 5 cards in there for you to write your own affirmations, because we all have things that we need from time to time, and then you put them in the deck as well. And I'd love for you to like tag me and share with me what your affirmations are. But it's very deeply integrated into the classes. And I think for, you know, the feedback I get, like our cast is literally disappearing in the sense that like we had 2 body positive women. I mean, because I think all shapes and sizes are amazing, and we have to like take their pants in every week. And like, I'm not even joking. Wardrobe is like, what the heck, dude? Like we bought all this wardrobe, you know, 3 weeks ago when we started filming, and the cast is literally getting so many amazing results. And most of them, they're either regular people or they're super elite athletes. And both of them are getting like so many results. So I think the affirmations can be applied physically, they can be applied mentally, emotionally, they can be applied to your classes, of course, Barre Blend classes, but more importantly, I care about the other 23 and a half hours of your day and you finding a mentality that empowers you.
Yes. This is why I'm so excited about this. So I have one question about the nutrition plan, and then we'll wrap up. Is there anything different about the nutrition? I know that we offer To Be Mindset. We have the portion fix, the ultimate portion fix. Can you talk about the nutrition plan for a second?
Yes, that exactly. Both of those programs would be a great addition to this program. They both would go hand in hand. For the nutrition, the VIP early access does come with our general Beachbody nutrition plan. I've contributed some recipes to that, and I share a little bit about how I eat. And for me, I think we put in the supplement recommended, and I'm very authentic with what I do and don't use, like some things are not as much for me, but the Beachbody Performance Recovery and Recharge changed my life because the program is so muscularly intense, and I never used them before. I'm like, oh, I don't know, supplements, I'm pretty intentional about what I put in my body, and Beachbody products are like so amazing. They're, fairly sourced and very effective, digestible by the body. So the recovery and recharge, and I use the collagen, which is new. And then of course, Shakeology. But for me, I do most things intuitively. So I talk about that a lot. So for me, the 2B mindset is very, a really good companion. The hydrate, the veggies most, that's basically how I eat. I eat pretty heavy on healthy fats. So that would be, I'm mostly pescatarian, though I will occasionally give my body what it needs, which is I'm very also responsible for how I source my meat and fish and things like that when I do eat them. But, a lot of healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, things like that. I think a lot of times as women, we're afraid of fats when actually, if we're giving our body the healthy fats it needs as fuel, it can actually cause us to burn more fat and have more better results from nutrition. So we give the general Beachbody plan, and it's similar to what you would think, high on the proteins and light on the sugar, but I'm a balanced person. Like I said, I don't sit here and pretend that I live on Shakeology and kale juice. I eat those things, but I also give myself an opportunity to enjoy life.
I so appreciate you. I have my own way of eating. I believe that we're all different and that we're not cookie cutter. And so I really appreciate hearing this from you. But Beachbody does have different nutrition programs. So if that's what you want to do, you can do that. But I think that when just you being honest about the performance line, that makes us as coaches more credible, right? When we actually promote things that we believe in versus promote every single program.
I think it will help. And I really encourage, especially the recovery right after the workout. And that's because when I started to create this, it was before I knew about Recover. And then it just wasn't one of the ones that I got with my yoga program. They send us different things. So I was at Beachbody headquarters and I was like, oh my God, my muscles are so sore. I'm doing all these moves all day and, probably not really stretching as much as I should. And, then my producer's like, oh, you got to try this Recover. And she makes it. And I think I shared my recipe. I don't know if it made it into the thing. It's my producer's recipe, but it's essentially you fill a cup with ice and water. And the quality of the ice is helpful if you have good ice. But that, and then 1 scoop of the Recover, a little bit of cinnamon, whip it up. It's like a freaking vanilla or chocolate milkshake. It's so good. But honestly, once I started taking the Recover right after the workout and the Recharge right before bed, still getting stronger, these arms. I'm like, my husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just shredding. The program is so effective, but I'm not sore. He's like, how are you not sore? You're working out all the time. You're doing all this filming. And honestly, the stretches, the program's comprehensive to help balance that, of course. But I do think that the Recover and Recharge have been a big part of that. And I don't want anyone to get discouraged after the first week because they might get really sore. It's a totally different way to work your body. So, but yeah, I think nutrition is, do you, what makes you feel happy.
So yesterday I did a few little bar moves. You guys, everything hurts right now. And I was just messing around, lifting, what is it called? Arabesque, right? So I'm dying. Okay, one quick question. We're done with that. Do we need a bar that, I heard that your rose gold one, they actually painted that. So I think we need to go buy a spray if we want to buy it. But do we need one?
That was custom made by our amazing set designer, Cristobal, who's incredible. And there is, Beachbody's not making a bar now. I think that mostly the shipping and transport issues, although there's been such a demand for the rose gold bars that we'll see if that's something that would come. They are pretty awesome. But, Beachbody, super responsible. So I want to make sure it's sturdy enough because those are wrought iron. So I don't even know how they would ship them. But the answer to the question in short is you don't need a bar. In fact, in filming, I use a chair. The cast gets bars. Okay. And so any chair, if it's sturdy, any counter, back of a couch, anything like that would be totally enough. You can even use a wall for balance. And, you know, as the program progresses, we go away from the bar more and more, and you'll notice the difference in your balance and your strength and your endurance, all of those things. So really, we wanted to make it as accessible for you to do while still giving coaches, you know, really cool things in the challenge pack, which make a big difference in the programming. So we recommend light weights, 1 to 5 pounds. And I personally recommend 1 to 3 pounds. I've not gotten up to 5 pounds, and I'm like dying with 2 pounds. And then the resistance loops for the intensifiers, all the same ones that Beachbody has had, 3 different levels. So, you know, and for you guys as coaches, one of the main things I think that is a good sales, that I thought about you guys in sales is replayability. This program, honestly, even if you're an elite athlete, you could go through it once with the modifier, once with the mid-level, once with the intensifier. And the intensifier does do high impact jumps, but it's just your own weight. And we teach you how to do that safely. But you could go through it 3 times and never do the same workout twice, and then forget about up-leveling your weights or up-leveling your resistance bands. And it's fun. The workouts are incredibly comprehensive, but there's no repeats. So I know a lot of programs like these 10 workouts, and they kind of repeat with little changes. No, this is 60 days. You'll never do the same workout twice. Everyone is completely different. It progresses. Like, I worked hard. You'll feel successful. You'll feel your body changing. You'll feel your heart and mood and empowerment elevating. So it's very thoughtfully constructed. But hopefully you won't see all that. You'll just feel great doing it. But there's a lot of replayability, and everyone from my mom, who's, you know, 70 and has had major hip issues, there's great options for her. She feels welcome and encouraged, and Amwala is like on fire. So no matter who you're trying to let this program reach out to, everyone can benefit if they give it a try.
So excited, Elise. Thank you so much for your time. So I found a quote that you started with early on. Only from the heart can we touch the sky. I feel like that's what you are allowing us to do, and that's what you did with us today. You really are going through the heart, and we are ready to hit different limits, you know, just break the limits. So
thank you. Well, I really appreciate you, Barbie, and everyone on this call, because honestly, like, you guys are the heart and soul of Beachbody. And if it wasn't for you guys, I would literally be like here in our office doing bar with my rescue pup and having no outreach at all. So I really have so much gratitude for all of you that allow me this platform to share my heart, and I really hope it reaches people. I'm so thankful for you, because I know there's some obstacles. You know, nobody has a preconceived notion that the work won't be results oriented, but there are a lot of preconceived notions that we're trying to move past. And I'm here to support you if you have questions, how I can help you with that. But I stand by this program for the most insane elite athlete, and I stand by this program for someone who's a little trepidatious about starting their fitness plan.
So can we do something? Can you just sit still, Elise?
Yeah.
And then we're not doing anything weird. I would like for you guys to type in little messages to Elise of the way, just let's fill her up. She's given so much the past few months of filming. So can we just type in the little chat box how we feel about her, and thank her, and just what quality you see in her. I'm going to start. I just think you're amazing and a beautiful soul, and this world has been waiting for your ray of sunshine that you are. And
thank you.
Impact so many lives and nurture so many people, and you have already begun to transform my life, because you are an example that the people in your life reflect who you are, and all these amazing people that are coming into your life and thanking you, they're a reflection of who you are. And to me, that's a reminder that I just need to show up big and bright and joyful and authentic, and you are that mirror to me. So go ahead and take a second to read all these comments, and I'll be quiet.
Thank you so much, you guys. That really means a lot to me. I'm so thankful. I have so much gratitude for you. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. Oh, Lauren, I didn't know Lauren Duke was on this call. Hello. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. Love you guys. I mean, honestly, I'm just so thankful, and those words mean a lot to me. When you do pour your heart and soul into something and then put it out there in the hopes that people like it, it can be scary, you know. So I really appreciate you guys sharing the word and supporting me, and I'm here to support you. And thank you, Barbie, for having me today.
So, okay, I'm really, I needed this. My soul needed this. So thank you again, you guys. And we're going to share this video with everyone in the world. And we wish you the best. And this is the beginning of something amazing. So everyone have a beautiful day. The recording will be up. I'll be sharing it with whoever wants it. And thank you, Elise. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.